How's it going, everybody? My name is just Jared, but you can just call me Jared, and welcome to the first video in what will probably be a long series. This is the beginning of something I've wanted to put together for forever now, something I plan to put a lot of time and effort into because I'm passionate about this game. This is the beginning of my Destiny 2 beginner guide. This guide will be broken up into multiple videos covering every facet of the game in depth and in detail from someone who has played almost 3,000 combined hours of Destiny 1 and 2 and has played since the beginning. I'm doing this because Destiny is still a tough game to get into if you've never played before or if you've been away for a while. Things change, mechanics change, systems change, entire planets disappear. It can be just as confusing stepping back in after being away for a year as it is being an entirely new player. With that being said, the series is going to cover the super basics of Destiny as well, so if you've played the game before, you'll likely know some of the things we talk about, but I don't want to cut corners or assume everyone knows even the basics of what Destiny is, so we're going to talk about it. And so we begin. So what exactly is Destiny? First off, throughout this series, I'm going to refer to Destiny 2, which is the current game, as just Destiny because it's way simpler that way. Destiny is an online-only, multiplayer, first-person action looter-shooter with light MMO-like mechanics that is being developed by Bungie. It can be played on PC, Stadia, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S, and it is technically a free-to-play game. We'll get into that technicality a bit later, but Destiny is also a live service game, meaning it's constantly being updated and adding new content. Destiny also supports cross-play and cross-save, meaning no matter where you play, you can always join up with friends on other platforms, and with cross-save, let's say you play on PC and PS5, you can access your characters on both of those platforms anytime you want. Or if you, finally built a gaming PC and you want to have access to your characters from your Xbox One, no problem, cross-save has your back. Okay, less exciting specifics out the way, now let's talk gameplay and story. Destiny is a PvP, player versus player, and PvE, player versus enemy, first-person sci-fi looter-shooter where you take on the role of a Guardian. Your Guardian can be one of 3 classes and one of 3 races. Titan, Warlock, and Hunter are the classes, each with their own abilities, supers, and armor, and Human, Awoken, and Exo are the races you can choose from. We'll break down everything about the 3 classes in another video, we're just sticking with the basics for now. A Guardian, or your character, is a resurrected corpse from the Golden Age brought back to life by the Traveler, which is a big white mysterious sphere in the sky above the last safe city on Earth. This city is home to most of humanity's survivors. Surrounding the city is a massive wall that was built by Titans, and atop this wall is the Tower, the in-game social hub where you'll see fellow Guardians running around and doing various things. This tower is also home to the Vanguard, a group of powerful and elite Guardians who coordinate defenses and assaults, as well as mentor other Guardians like you. I'll eventually have a guide on the tower and the tower vendors. There's a lot of guides coming, trust me. Now, what does it mean to be a Guardian? Guardians are brought back to life by the Traveler's light, which is carried by ghosts of the Traveler. These ghosts are artificially intelligent flying orb robots that float alongside you. Each Guardian has their own unique ghost just for them, and your ghost is your connection to the light and what gives you your powers. So if your ghost gets destroyed, then you no longer have the light and you no longer can come back to life infinitely. As a Guardian with a ghost, you can always be revived when you die because of the light. Guardians never remember their past life, and they are tasked with defending the last safe city no matter what. As a Guardian, you're able to harness the energy from the Traveler, this energy is called the Light, and use it in various super powerful ways to dispose of any threats to humanity's survival. These threats come in the form of 5 base enemy alien races. The Fallen, also called Eliksni in their native language, are agile, four-armed humanoids that usually take on the roles of pirates and mercenaries. They also have floating turrets called Shanks and these giant spider tanks. The Cabal are a warmongering, militaristic race that resemble rhinoceroses but on 2 legs. These guys have big shields and can jump surprisingly high. Also, they have tanks too. The Vex are a cyber-organic species that are older than the universe itself. They can manipulate time, reconstruct entire planets, travel near instantaneously through space, and keep their own in a fight with their soldier-like emotionless army, strong Vex wyverns that fly at you, and giant-sized Vex hydras that come equipped with rotating shields to protect them from fire. The Hive are an undead race that kinda resemble bugs and love living in tunnels in really creepy places. They worship the darkness and live by something called the Sword Logic, which dictates that they must destroy other civilizations in order to feed the worms that live inside the Hive gods' bodies. As of the writing of this guide, the Hive are the super big bads right now, like really, really big bad. Then you have the Taken. The Taken aren't necessarily a race per se. The Taken are darkness-corrupted beings, so any species can become Taken. There's Taken Cabal, Taken Vex, Hive, Fallen. These enemies have different abilities and all share the same black and gray ghostly visual theme. This is just a super small glimpse at the story and enemies. When it comes to storyline, backstory, side stories, and lore, there's tons in Destiny. If you like lore, this is the game for you. I probably won't do videos on the lore, solely because I'm not as informed or knowledgeable as I'd like to be when it comes to all that. Also, as far as the beginning of the story in Destiny goes, once you start up the game for the first time after you create your character, the game will explain a lot more of the beginning, how the world came to be, where the Traveler came from, etc., etc. Destiny's story is huge. It has developed and evolved for over 7 years now, through releases, through expansions, through seasons. Characters have been introduced, relationships have been made, friends and allies have been killed, we've taken down gods, traveled through time, walked in space, stepped into the unknown, fought wars, explored mysteries, celebrated victories, and mourned losses. Destiny has a brilliant, fun, and constantly twisting and turning storyline that evolves week over week. It's a lot to take in and learn if you're brand new, but you don't have to know everything about the story to enjoy Destiny, because there's many more years of more story and more content to come. Destiny's content comes in the form of seasons and expansions. Each season usually lasts for 3 months, equaling out to 4 seasons per year, with each season costing $10 to gain access to all of its content. Each season comes with new storylines, new plot, new missions that become available every week, new loot, new activities, holiday-themed events, and usually a massive amount of changes and balancing to the game and its armor, weapons, and abilities. Each season also comes with a seasonal rank system akin to that of a battle pass, where ranking up grants you tons of items, boosts, cosmetics, and loot across the 100 tiers. Without purchasing a season, you can still access some of its content like holiday events and the free seasonal rank tiers, which are separate from the paid seasonal rank tiers. For the most part though, the cool new stuff is locked behind the $10 it costs to buy the season. Then you've got expansions. Bungie releases one expansion every year, usually around September or November, although the upcoming expansion titled The Witch Queen was delayed to February. Usually though, they release more around the end of the year. These expansions range in price. They're usually somewhere around $40, and they include a new season, so you don't have to buy a $40 expansion, then turn around and then have to purchase a $10 season that takes place the same day the expansion launches. You also don't have to purchase anything if you don't want to. Back in the Destiny 1 days, if you didn't have the first expansion but wanted the third, you had to buy the first and the second one first. That's not the case anymore, not the case with Destiny 2. If you don't like the look of a certain season or expansion, you can just skip out on it. You'll still be able to play the game and play with friends, albeit it might be a little tougher because you might not have access to some activities that your friends do, but at least there's freedom of choice when it comes to what you're actually interested in content-wise. And if it isn't already clear just based on games that have expansions for Destiny come with tons of new stuff, including at least one brand new planet or open world location with loads of secrets and puzzles to find and explore, a new raid, which are 6-player activities that are the most challenging and most exciting parts of Destiny, tons of new loot, sometimes new subclasses, which are your character's abilities, and a brand new campaign that usually introduces new characters and villains. Expansion releases are the best time to be a Destiny fan. Now real quick, let's jump back into the whole free-to-play conversation. Technically, yes, Destiny is free to play, and if you're not sure if you'll like the game, I 100% recommend just downloading it for free and jumping in to try it out. The free version of Destiny 2 includes the base game and the first 2 expansions. The problem with that is, the first 2 expansions added storylines on Mercury and Mars, 2 planets that are no longer in the game because of current events that are happening in the story now. Also, the base game campaign isn't playable. So really what you're getting is Destiny in a weird spot because you're never really following any traditional campaign, which will probably confuse a lot of people. You also won't have access to 9 subclass trees or the recently added new subclass Stasis without purchasing the latest expansion Beyond Light, which costs $40. With the free version of Destiny, you'll essentially just be exploring planets and steadily unlocking new ones, playing different match-made activities with no real understanding of what you're doing, where you are, or who you're killing, all with no obvious goal in sight besides getting more loot. So yes, it is free to play, but without purchasing the latest expansion or current season, everything feels very aimless. You're just kind of there in a world killing things with no sense of direction, no sense of purpose, and that's not nearly as exciting or fun as what the game truly has to offer. Now, when you do begin a new character and start the game for the first time, it'll start you in something called the New Light campaign, which is designed as a tutorial for new players, something to replace the old campaign that was removed. These series of missions will introduce you to the controls, how certain mechanics and systems work, and how the basic gameplay loop feels for the most part. I'm currently playing through the New Light campaign on a brand new character to see what it's like so I can accurately create guides for new players that will help them out the most. I haven't created a new character in 7 years. I've had my 3 characters since the launch of Destiny 1, so it's been a while since I've had to start from scratch, but this way I'll at least know how the beginning of the game goes for completely new players, so I have as much info as I can to help anyone out and create informative beginner guides. From my current personal experience with the New Light campaign, it doesn't do a good enough job explaining things, and I don't feel like it represents the best of what Destiny is early enough. There's also a lot of walking back and forth to and from the same location, something I can easily see turning players away simply because it's annoying, even though in a couple hours you do eventually get your Sparrow bike, which lets you zip across planets much faster. I plan to have a New Light guide up fairly soon after this video goes live. I know, a guide for a set of tutorial campaign missions sounds dumb, but there's lots of things that it doesn't explain that I feel like it really needs to. I can see some players getting stuck very early because of this lack of explanation. Also, when you start out, you have to gain XP to unlock the planets, and the game throws so much at you once you get to that point, it can be very overwhelming. So I plan to simplify everything with my New Light guide, so stay tuned for that. Or if you're watching this in the future, check out my channel, it might already be up. So if you're watching this and you're contemplating trying out Destiny because it's being talked about a lot right now, tons of new people are picking up the game to try it out, and maybe you're teetering on the edge of finally downloading it and giving it a shot, this final portion of the video might help you take that leap. So here's the question: what kind of people like Destiny? Who is this game for? There's a good chance you'll enjoy Destiny if you like loot. There's a massive amount of loot to find and collect, especially for a new player. I dream of a day where I'm excited to get loot again. I've played for so long that I have the mass majority of everything out there that I want until a new season or expansion launches. New players have everything to be excited for: guns, armor, exotics, which are the rarest and best items, cosmetics, just the anticipation of getting something cool. If you're just starting now, you'll likely always have that feeling because of how much loot is in the game. And all of this loot you can collect. You can hoard stuff in your vault to collect dust like me and most other players do. And every item you obtain gets added to your collection menu, which acts sort of like a checklist of every item in the game. You'll definitely like Destiny if you like addictive gunplay with cool abilities and powers, creating your character, building them into the power fantasy you want, then being able to crush anything in your path is the journey every player loves. If you're looking for a game that you can play literally forever, at least for the foreseeable future, this can be that game. It's been going on for 7 years now, and we know it will be going on for at least 3 more years because we have announced expansions planned through 2024, and Bungie has stated that Destiny won't stop there. If you like customization, Destiny has tons of it, creating builds for certain activities or PvP or raids, or builds for certain playstyles like an always invisible hunter or a healer build. There's customization in terms of builds and in terms of your visual appearance. Transmogrification lets you change what your armor looks like. There's hundreds of color options. You can shade your guns different colors or change their look entirely with ornaments. You can customize your ship, your sparrow, your ghost. There's emotes to collect and cool finishers to grab that let you finish off opponents in fancy ways. Customization is king in Destiny, but there's also a grind. So if you're not afraid of grinding, then don't worry, I guess, but do know that if you are someone who dislikes grind in a game, then you probably won't enjoy Destiny, especially when you get to the end game. In my opinion, if you own the most recent expansion when you play the game for the first time, you won't really feel the grind until you've done most of everything and have found a lot of the gear. The grind starts to hit when you're endlessly increasing your power one level at a time, very slowly, and you have nothing to really look forward to in terms of new loot. But when those moments hit, you always have the story and plot to look forward to. During most of the seasons in Destiny, we get story missions and developments every single week at the weekly reset, which is every Tuesday. Sometimes these resets come with secret missions or hidden puzzles that the community must solve to unlock something new, like a new exotic weapon or a hidden dungeon. These are super rare, but they always have ended up being really dope, and it keeps us on our toes every week because we never know what's going to happen. And finally, you'll probably enjoy Destiny if you like a challenge. There's a plethora of challenging and tough things to attempt in Destiny. You've got raids, the 6-player activities, which are the most prized activities in the game. They usually take a long time to complete until you have a team that knows what they're doing. They're full of tough boss encounters that require communication, as well as platforming puzzles and other kinds of weird puzzles that require you to use your brain. Trials of Osiris is the endgame PvP activity that is definitely a challenge. There's dungeons, which are essentially mini raids that only require a team of 3 or less. Grandmaster Nightfalls offer up exotic armor and upgrade materials that are otherwise somewhat hard to get, and Legend and Master Lost Sectors let you target farm certain exotic armor pieces. There's a lot here for people who like challenging content, but if that's not your thing, you don't have to do any of that stuff. There's plenty of things to do and loot to find doing other things elsewhere. If you just want to play PvP, you can. If you never want to touch PvP, no problem. You can play Destiny how you want to play Destiny. So if any of this sounds like something you'd enjoy, then I'd say definitely give it a try. Alright, this video has gone on long enough. Not every guide video will be this long, but like I said before, I wanted to get these super basics out of the way, and there's a lot of basics. In the next video, we'll be focusing on the New Light campaign and what that campaign doesn't teach you. We'll go over the basics of each class so you can make a more knowledgeable decision on which class to pick, and I'll help you optimize your time by giving you tips that will speed up your progression through the planet unlocking process, getting you access to everything Destiny has to offer as quickly as possible. Stay tuned for that and more. I plan on making beginner guides on literally everything in this game because it is one of my all-time favorite games, and if I can help other people out, help people get into it, and also grow to love Destiny like me, well, I'll do my best. Thank you for watching this video and making it all the way to the end. I appreciate you giving me your time. If you have any Destiny related questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. If you found any informative value in this video, please give it a like so it can reach more potential new Destiny players, and subscribe if you want to keep up to date with my Destiny guides. Big thanks to my Patreon supporters Kyle and Vanilla. Until next time, peace out.